Hello everyone, my name is Priyesh Matthew and I am the Revenue Cycle Manager of NMC Provita. During this session, I will be giving a brief introduction about our Revenue Cycle department and will be explaining the flow process and how critical we are involved in securing approvals, how we are managing the proper medical coding and billing, and finally getting reimbursement for the services that we are under. So I'm going straight away to the presentation. So first of all, what is medical coding? Medical coding is a transformation of healthcare diagnosis procedures, medical services, and equipment into universal medical alphanumerical codes. So the medical code is the diagnosis and procedure codes are taken from the medical record documentation such as transcription of physician notes, nursing notes, etc. Medical coding professionals help ensure the codes are applied correctly during the medical billing process, which includes abstracting the information from the documentation, assigning the appropriate codes, and creating a claim to be paid by the insurance carriers. The current version that we are using is ICD-10-CM 2015 and CPT-4 2011. ICD-10-CM is referring to the diagnosis and CPT is for the procedures. So now coming to the facilities that currently we are managing. We have long-term care facilities as well as home care and home hemodialysis. Provita Abu Dhabi, Provita Align, NMC Royal LTC Unit, NMC Specialty Align, Alzara LTC Unit are the long-term care facilities that we are currently managing. And coming to the home care, we have Americare, Tuskin and Premier. Home dialysis, we have Riaya Umayas. So now coming to the RCM flow process. So you can see that these are the four pillars of RCM flow process. First one is referral, second one is medical team, third is RCM department, and fourth one is insurance provider. Referral is the facilities outside, like outside facilities of like an SKMC, MAFRAC, etc. Medical team refers to our clinical team and they will doing the evaluation of the patients. RCM department, which is responsible for taking prior authorization request and claim submission. And last one is the insurance provider, and our main insurance provider is Damantika. So first of all, how we will start with the process. So first for long-term care and PAR referral. PAR means post-acute rehab referral. So the process starts with the patient encounter, either it is a new admission or second admission. The admission team will collect all the required documents such as medical report or referral report, discharge summaries. It should have a long-term care or PAR referral from the receiving facilities. Signed Daman consent and agreement is mandatory. The patient should have a valid TICA card copy and Emirates ID. And finally, the signed TICA Daman authorization form will be forwarded to the doctors by the admission team. So what the doctors and other medical team will do, they will assess the patient and create a long-term care or PAR medical report with care domain, scoring grid and justification. This is what we are calling our internal doctor's medical report. So they will complete all these things, the authorization form, and finally forward it to us. So all admissions need a referral recommendation from the outside facilities. Let's say, for example, any patient admitted to our facility need to have a recommendation from the referring facility that this patient need a long-term care or PAR treatment. So the discharge summary with LTC or PAR recommendation from a receiving hospital is a mandatory criteria for readmission. LTC PAR medical report is needed, and for PAR cases we need a detailed rehab report. And below you can see some of the PAR and LTC recommendation samples. Like as I told, for PAR, we need to have in the discharge summary mentioned, patient needs intensive inpatient rehabilitation therapy in terms of physical occupation and speech therapy. For LTC, below are the recommendation samples that the patient requires continued care in a long-term care facility, patient needs to be managed under long-term care facility for further treatment, or patient can be transferred to a long-term care facility. So whoever is accompanying with the patient from the receiving hospital need to make sure that the discharge summary should have any of these sample recommendations mentioned. Now coming to the authorization workflow. So now it's coming our RCM part. So we will review all these medical reports, referral reports, discharge summaries, and field authorization form that we received from the admission and medical team. And if all the reports are ready, we will determine the diagnosis and procedure codes to be used, that is ICD-10 and CPT-10, CPT-4. And any missing documents, we will get back to the respective team, either it is admission or medical team, for the completeness. We will do an internal review of codification before approval submission to make sure that it's in line with the TASNIF audit. And then finally, we will submit the authorization to the insurance provider. So if the request is approved, what is the next step? So we will document and compile the authorization approvals, and we will inform medical and admission team to organize and plan for patient admission. If rejected, we will review the rejection comment, and if it is due to medical reason, we will escalate this to our physicians, medical team, and we are doing it through a physician query process. This is also mandated by TASNIF. So once the physician query is confirmed and received, we will resubmit the authorization to the insurance provider. If rejected due to technical issues and other additional document requests, we will check and we will do it from our side. So below you can see some of the common rejection samples while submitting for the approval request, while securing the approval. The main thing that I told before, the discharge summary is without referral report or without LTC recommendation. And sometimes the man will or the insurance will reject by saying that the patient is not eligible for LTC. Why can't this patient can be managed at home? Sometimes that the patient is having an active approval with another provider. So in that case, they will reject that patient is under another provider, and we have to send a notification to cancel that approval. So these are the most rejection samples that we are getting for long-term care approval coverage. Now coming to the home care, we need more documents other than long-term care. Compared to long-term care, we need a face-to-face form, care domain and scoring grid, nursing care plan, which is a detailed one, PT and ST, which means physiotherapy and speech therapy care plan, active general nurse license. Like so many additional documents are needed, but the process will remain the same. Same for approval extensions also, like for any approvals that we are securing maximum for 30 or 35 days. After that, we need to extend the approval. So same documents that we needed to continue the service here. So below are the the approval rejection samples that we are facing for home care. Main thing is the home care eligibility not established, caregiver training is done, skilled nursing care is not justified. So now coming to the coding and billing process, first start with the long-term care. So what our coders will do, they will review the daily documentation and services rendered through the EMR, and they check for the incomplete or missing documentation, and then they will raise a documentation query if needed further clarification and or incomplete missing documentation. The coders will assign the ICD-10 HIPICs, CPT, doc codes and service codes for the rendered services. And below are the key areas that they are focusing, which is MDT records, SOAP notes, physician orders, blood test reports, insulin sheet, MAR sheet, ventilation order sheet. Coming to the home care, it will be the same, almost similar. They will review the documentation and services rendered through the EMR. Then they will check for incomplete missing documentation. And then they will raise a documentation query if needed further clarification, and for incompleteness, missing documentation. The key areas are MAR sheet, nursing activity summary, MDT records, blood sugar monitoring sheet, nurses notes, daily initial assessment, catheter urinary associated infection checklist, wound assessment plan, and therapy notes. Now coming to the claim submission part, for long-term care, our submission is bi-monthly. That is submission every 1 to 15. We will do it on 16 or 17, and then 16 to 30 or 31 we will submit on the first or second of the subsequent month. Coming to the home care, our submission divided to 3 batches per month, like 1 to 15, 11 to 25, and 26 to month end. We will do an internal verification for all claims before submission to make sure that everything is coded correctly, all billings are made correctly, and also should be in line with the TASNIF audit. Finally, we will upload all these coding and billing things to our hard post office via Green Rail Messenger. Coming to the insurance provider, so once submitted, the claims may get paid or denied. So what happened if it is denied? So we will identify the reason for rejection and provide clarification, and we will do a resubmission for the rejected claims. We will upload the same to the hard post office via Green Messenger, and if there is no rejection, we will proceed with the remittance advice. Now coming to the importance of documentation. So documentation refers to that in a nursing practice is anything written or electronically generated that describes the status of patient on the care or services given to that patient. The most important purpose of documentation is to communicate to other members of the MDT the patient progress and general condition. Good documentation in nursing should include the following characteristics, that is factual, accuracy, complete, timely, concise, and legible. This is one of the sample documentation that the RCM requirement. Okay, this is very important sheet, which is a ventilator hour sheet. You can see that the current date of service is mandatory. For a ventilated patient, the ventilator mode, like for example, you can see SIMV, PSIMV, PSVT, which is mentioned here. It is mandatory that we need to report all these ventilator modes there. Coming to the pulse oximetry, they have to document single, multiple, or continuous. Now coming to ventilated patients, currently in our long-term care we have ventilated patients, non-vent patients, and weaning patients. Weaning patients in the sense like the patient is already on ventilator and reducing the off-vent hours, and finally going to the off hours. So make sure extra care taken for the vent chart of weaning cases, because off-vent hours and on-vent hours should document correctly, as it may impact the revenue. Also, this is one of the sheet which is IV medication sheet. You can see that it is highlighted here, time, start time and end time. So for IV medications, whatever we are giving, start time and end time for every infusion should be documented as it is necessary for coding. Now coming to the documentation for physiotherapy and OT services, which is including speech therapy also. So all methods of therapy must be documented in the patient report, patient records, and timed codes are coded per units of at least 8 minutes. Do not combine time-based codes in separate modalities, therapeutic procedures to get 1 unit of service. If it is under 8 minutes, that modality procedures will not be coded. The start time and end time is also important for therapy, and for every session should be documented as it is necessary for coding. So what is most important to remember about coding? If it was not documented, it was not done. Finally, the points to remember. Okay, so make sure all new admissions and readmissions are notified to RCM on time on the same day itself. If you cannot send requests on the time, it leads to a loss of pay for the day. For the late admissions after 10 p.m., please inform us through a call. So below are the billing criteria, like I can say that if new admissions, readmissions, any patients admitted before 23:59, we are eligible to bill that day. But if the patient transferred out to hospital and came back on the same day, we are still eligible to bill that day. If the patient transferred out to hospital and coming back after 12 a.m., like 0001, we are not eligible to bill that transfer out day. Like we are not eligible to bill the patient who shifted on that day. Why? Because the patient is staying overnight with another hospital. So they are going to claim that as DRG. So hence correct documentation of patient's facility leaving time and facility admission time is very important. And always follow 24 hours format and don't give anywhere the time as 00. Use either 23:59 or 0001. Thank you so much. So that's all with my presentation. Hope you got a brief idea about our department and process. I also hope that everyone is staying safe during this pandemic situation. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.
Hi everyone, this is Salman and I lead the IT department here in Pavitra, and we have one IT engineer based in Alain also. Thank you.
Okay.